Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz had forged one of the most electrifying rivalries in modern tennis. A battle of contrasts, yet equally destructive forces on the court. One was a cold-blooded assassin with surgical precision, the other a whirlwind of raw energy and creativity. They weren't just players, they were the future of the sport, the chosen ones meant to carry the torch into the post-Big Three era. But holy hell, what just happened? The tennis world was sent into a full-blown meltdown in the last few hours after an unexpected message from Sinner to Alcaraz flipped the script on their relationship, setting the internet on fire with reactions, conspiracies, and a ridiculous amount of overanalyzing. It all started after their clash in the final of the most recent Masters tournament, a showdown that felt less like a tennis match and more like a damn cinematic masterpiece. The match had everything: blistering rallies, shots pulled straight out of a magician's hat, and the kind of nerve-wracking tension that made you question why you even subjected yourself to watching this sport. Both players threw everything they had at each other, refusing to back down even an inch. But in the end, it was Sinner who snatched victory in an absolute nail-biter, winning the deciding set in a dramatic tiebreak. Yet, something felt off. The handshake at the net wasn't their usual hey. That was epic bro moment. Alcaraz, usually all smiles and overflowing with sportsmanship, looked tense, almost pissed off. Meanwhile, Sinner's face, a cryptic enigma. It wasn't just a match. Something else had gone down. And of course, the internet did what it does best: spiraled into full-blown chaos. Within minutes, fans were cooking up every possible theory. Some swore their rivalry had just crossed the line from healthy competition to cold-blooded beef. Others claimed there had been a heated exchange in the locker room before the match. And then there were the truly wild conspiracies. Did Alcaraz step on Sinner's lucky towel? Did Sinner refuse to share his pasta recipe? The speculation was endless. Journalists scrambled to get a scoop, but both players remained frustratingly tight-lipped. No juicy quotes, no dramatic press conferences, just silence, until Sinner finally decided to drop a bombshell. Out of nowhere, he posted on social media, "Some battles go beyond the court. Let's respect the game and those who make it great." Boom. Alongside the cryptic caption was a photo of the exact moment he and Alcaraz shook hands at the net. He didn't tag anyone. He didn't point fingers. But come on, there was no way this wasn't about Carlitos. Tennis Twitter exploded. What the hell was that supposed to mean? Was he calling out Alcaraz, accusing him of being disrespectful? Was there a hidden meaning? Was Sinner actually a poet? The theories got wilder by the second. And then, because drama loves company, Alcaraz fired back. Just a few hours later, he posted a story on his own account. Respect is earned on and off the court. No tags. No direct mentions. But let's not kid ourselves. This was aimed straight at Jannik. Now, instead of calming things down, this just poured gasoline on the already raging fire. People lost their damn minds. Was this an actual feud? Had the friendly rivalry taken a turn into pure animosity? Was this tennis version of a heavyweight title fight brewing? One thing was clear. The camaraderie that had once defined their battles was now hanging by a thread. And whether this was just a petty exchange or the beginning of a full-blown war, one thing was certain: this rivalry had just entered a whole new level of intensity. And we are so here for it. The sports media, oh, they were all over this shit like a pack of hungry wolves. Within minutes of the first cryptic post, reporters, analysts, and every tennis pundit with a microphone started digging for the truth. What the hell had gone down between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner? According to sources close to the tournament, the two had a not-so-friendly chat in the locker room after the match. Now, chat might be putting it lightly, because apparently, witnesses claim they saw an intense, borderline hostile exchange between the usually cordial rivals. Given that these two had always treated each other with mutual respect, this was weird as hell. Naturally, the tennis world lost its collective mind. The experts completely split. Some took the "this is just normal rivalry escalation" stance, brushing it off as the inevitable heat between two young titans fighting for supremacy. Others, though, weren't so optimistic. They argued that the friendship was officially dead and buried, and that we were witnessing the birth of a grudge match that could shape the future of tennis. Then, just when people thought the circus had reached peak drama, shit hit the fan. An audio recording leaked, a short, crackly clip from inside the locker room, and it had Sinner's voice loud and clear. He knows what he did. That's why he can't even look me in the eyes. Boom. 2 sentences. That's all it took for the controversy to explode into full-blown madness. What the hell was he talking about? What had Alcaraz done that pissed Sinner off this much? Was this about something that happened during the match? Or was there some deeper, juicier off-court drama brewing beneath the surface? Theories spread like wildfire. Some fans dissected every second of the match, convinced that Alcaraz had pulled off some shady, unsportsmanlike move that crossed the line. Others swore this beef had been cooking for a while, maybe from a private exchange or even a broken gentleman's agreement. Whatever it was, the tension was real as hell. Even ATP players were dragged into the chaos. Daniil Medvedev, who's never been one to hold back, gave his take first. I don't know what's going on, but when 2 guys are at the top, tension is normal. The important thing is to keep the respect. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic, who's seen it all, played diplomat. Rivalries are good for tennis, but they should always be based on fair play. Things got so out of hand that even the ATP had to step in. They released an official statement practically begging everyone to calm the hell down. The message was simple. Tennis is built on respect and fair competition. Any personal disagreements should be handled professionally. But let's be real, nobody was buying that bullshit. The fire was already raging out of control, and just when it seemed like things might finally cool off, Alcaraz broke his silence. He sat down for an exclusive interview and tackled the situation head-on. I don't get why people are making such a big deal out of this. Jannik and I are competitors, but there's always been respect between us. If he has something to say to me, he knows where to find me. I'm not here for pointless drama. Translation: he was pissed. Sure, he kept his voice calm, his words measured, but if you read between the lines, there was some serious shade being thrown. And just when we thought we heard the last of it, Sinner fired back at a promotional event. I've said what I needed to say. I play with respect, and I expect the same from my opponents. I'm not adding anything else to this story. Oof. At that point, it was open season in the tennis community. Fans took sides like it was a damn war. Team Alcaraz, they stood by their guy, saying Sinner was overreacting and stirring up unnecessary drama. Team Sinner, they argued that he wouldn't have been this pissed for no reason. Something serious must have happened. One thing was certain, this rivalry wasn't cooling down anytime soon. If anything, this whole mess just poured gasoline on the fire. And now, the entire world is waiting for their next matchup. Will they ignore each other, shake hands like nothing ever happened? Or are we about to witness the next explosive chapter of this unexpectedly spicy feud? One way or another, tennis just got itself one hell of a rivalry, and we are so damn ready to see what happens next. The replay left no room for doubt. After winning an absolutely brutal rally, Alcaraz clenched his fists and let out a war cry, his eyes flickering briefly in Sinner's direction. Now, let's be clear, this wasn't exactly out of character for him. The guy is a walking adrenaline rush, and celebrating points like he just won Wimbledon on match point is basically his thing. But this time, people weren't so sure it was just pure emotion. Some fans swore on their lives that this was a deliberate, borderline disrespectful gesture. Others brushed it off, saying the real problem had nothing to do with one scream. This was just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe this whole mess had been brewing for a while, tied to something deeper, something whispered behind closed doors, something off the court that we weren't privy to. And just like that, the theories exploded like fireworks on steroids. Tennis insiders began digging through the rubble, trying to uncover what the hell had happened between the two. Some reporters speculated that Sinner's frustration wasn't about 1 point or even the match. It was about respect, about some sort of unspoken code between them that had just been shattered into a million pieces. Meanwhile, both players' teams were scrambling to put out the fire. Juan Carlos Ferrero, Alcaraz's coach and eternal voice of reason, apparently had a little chat with his protege right after the match. Don't get dragged into the bullshit, Carlos. Focus on your game. Everything else is just noise. Solid advice. But let's be real. This wasn't just noise anymore. It had already spiraled way beyond his control. Over in Camp Sinner, things weren't exactly all sunshine and rainbows either. Rumors leaked that his team was not happy with Alcaraz's behavior. They kept their mouths shut in public, but behind closed doors, there was talk of a line being crossed, of a certain mutual respect that had been violated. And of course, their silence only made the whole damn thing even more mysterious. Tennis analysts started doing what they do best, overanalyzing every damn frame of the match, searching for clues. And guess what? They found one. Midway through the second set, there was a moment. Alcaraz had just pulled off a ridiculous, physics-defying shot, one of those WTF moments that made you question whether he's actually human. Normally, Sinner, cool as ice, would have just nodded and moved on. But this time, he just stared at Alcaraz for a fraction of a second too long. To the untrained eye, it was nothing. To the experts in tennis psychology and body language, aka Twitter detectives and YouTube theorists, this was proof of something deeper, a flicker of disappointment, frustration, maybe even betrayal. And while the internet detectives were busy decoding that, the fan war between Italy and Spain hit full throttle. Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. It was a goddamn battlefield. Hashtags emerged, debates raged on for hours, and people started making wild comparisons to legendary rivalries. This isn't just tennis anymore, one user posted. This is personal. And yet, the weirdest part of all, the rest of the ADP was dead silent. Usually when shit like this happens, some big-name players jump in, trying to diffuse the tension or, let's be honest, add fuel to the fire. But this time, crickets. It was like everyone knew something, but nobody wanted to talk. Until, of course, an anonymous top 10 player let something slip to a journalist. If Sinner reacted like that, he must have a damn good reason. He's not the type to complain without cause. Oh, shit. Cue another wave of speculation. What was the real story here? What were they not telling us? Some reporters started digging into their off-court dynamic, looking beyond the matches. To the outside world, they had always been rivals, not exactly best friends, but always cordial. But now, some sources suggested that they had actually been closer than people thought, spending time together, talking at previous tournaments. And then, something broke. The moment that sent the internet into a full-blown meltdown. Jannik Sinner unfollowed Carlos Alcaraz on social media. In the modern era of petty sports drama, this was the equivalent of declaring war. People lost their damn minds. Was this the ultimate confirmation that their relationship was beyond repair? Or was it just a heat-of-the-moment decision that would get reversed once Sinner cooled down? Meanwhile, Alcaraz, he didn't touch a damn thing on his socials. No unfollows, no cryptic messages, just radio silence. Some saw it as him taking the high road. Others thought he was just trying to brush the whole thing under the rug. If he doesn't care, why doesn't he just come out and say something? Sinner's fans demanded, but behind closed doors, whispers suggested that Alcaraz was actually fuming about the whole situation. Not just about Sinner, but about how their private issues had become public entertainment. And then, just when people thought this roller coaster couldn't get any wilder, a new piece of evidence surfaced. A fan had recorded a video in the tunnel leading to the locker rooms. The footage, Sinner walking with his team, stone-faced as hell. Alcaraz passing him from behind with the faintest, most restrained smirk. For a brief, blink-and-you-miss-it moment, Sinner glances at him and makes a quick, subtle head motion, like he was biting his tongue to keep from saying something. And that was it. That tiny-ass gesture went insanely viral in minutes. Some people were convinced it was undeniable proof of lingering hostility. Others called it a nothing burger, just an overanalyzed post-match moment after an intense battle. But the question remained, what the hell was really going on? And with both players refusing to spill the truth, the mystery only grew stronger. Would they ignore each other at their next tournament? Would they shake hands like nothing happened? Or were we about to get another spicy-ass chapter in a rivalry that had suddenly become the best goddamn soap opera in tennis? One way or another, this was far from over.